7 Stoic Practices for Consistency. Build discipline, build freedom. The power of steadiness. Welcome back to Stoic-Wellspring, where ancient wisdom meets the struggles of your modern day. Let me ask you, how many times have you started something with fire in your chest, only to watch the flame die a week later? A new habit, a new goal, a new self you swore to become, and yet, without consistency, all beginnings collapse into ash. The Stoics knew this truth well. Greatness is not built in moments of inspiration, but in the steady rhythm of disciplined days. Epictetus once said in his discourses, "No great thing is created suddenly. Consistency is the quiet forge of character, the unseen labor that transforms chaos into clarity, impulse into strength, intention into freedom." Tonight, we will uncover 7 Stoic practices for consistency, practical ways to steady your life, one disciplined act at a time. For without steadiness, even wisdom slips through your fingers, but with it, freedom becomes unshakable. Consistency, the silent strength. We live in an age obsessed with beginnings. New projects, new resolutions, new identities. Everyone wants to start. Few are willing to stay. Yet the Stoics remind us, greatness is never built in a single burst of inspiration. It is forged in the steady fire of consistency, the discipline to return, day after day, to the same principles. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." He did not write this once, but returned to it again and again, because wisdom is not learned once, it is practiced daily. Consistency is not glamorous. It will not get you applause on the first day. It will not impress anyone in the short term, but over time, it becomes unshakable power. The body grows strong through repeated training. The mind grows clear through repeated reflection. The character grows noble through repeated choices of virtue. Without consistency, philosophy is just decoration. Words on a page, never flesh in the world. With consistency, even the smallest action becomes transformative. Epictetus once reminded his students in the Discourses, "Progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily." In this reflection, we will explore 7 Stoic practices for consistency, not as rigid rules, but as living exercises. They will take us from morning reflection to evening review, from voluntary hardship to steady speech, from daily discipline to the freedom found in presence. This is the Stoic path to consistency, not to impress others, but to become unshakable within yourself. Practice 1. Morning reflection. Begin with clarity. Every day begins with a battlefield, not out there in the world, but here in the mind. The moment you open your eyes, demands rush in. Tasks, worries, messages, expectations. If you do not set your ground first, the world will set it for you. Marcus Aurelius began each morning reminding himself in his Meditations, "Today I shall meet people who are busy, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial. He prepared his mind not for perfection, but for reality. Morning reflection is not a luxury, it is armor. It clears the fog before the battle of the day begins. Ask yourself, what is within my control today? What is beyond it? Write it down. Say it out loud. Anchor yourself before the storm arrives. Without this clarity, you will chase everything and hold nothing. With it, you can endure insult, delay, and difficulty without losing balance. Seneca once advised in his letters to Lucilius, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." Morning reflection is exactly this, treating each day as its own lifetime, worthy of direction. In practice, this could be 5 minutes of journaling, or even one mindful breath before touching your phone. Small though it seems, it is this ritual that separates a day lived by design from a day hijacked by distraction. And once clarity has opened your morning, the next practice takes root, defining your values daily, so your actions do not drift with the crowd. Practice 2. Define your values daily. Anchor to virtue. Imagine waking each day without direction. You may move, act, even achieve, but without values, it is like sailing without a compass. The Stoics knew that consistency is not mere repetition, it is alignment. Repetition without values is slavery. Repetition with values is discipline. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "If at some point in your life you should come across anything better than justice, truth, self-control, courage, embrace it. But if nothing is better, then do not be distracted." Each morning, take a moment to name your values, not vaguely, but clearly. Today, I will act with justice. Today, I will speak with honesty. Today, I will choose courage over fear. This daily anchoring prevents you from drifting. It steadies your course when circumstances shift, when temptations arise, when others demand you compromise. Without values, consistency becomes stubbornness, sticking to habits for no reason. With values, consistency becomes resilience, staying true even when the storm rages. Seneca once reminded in his letters to Lucilius, "If a man knows not what harbor he seeks, no wind is the right wind." To define your values daily is to declare your harbor. Then, no matter how the winds shift, your sail remains steady. And once values are set, consistency moves from philosophy to practice, through the small steps, repeated often, that shape a steady life. Practice 3. Small steps, repeated often, discipline in the details. We dream of transformation through big leaps, a radical change, a sudden breakthrough. But the Stoics knew greatness is not built in explosions, but in repetitions. Epictetus once said in his discourses, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery is not gained in a day, but in thousands of small, repeated acts. Think of training the body. One workout does not build strength. 100 consistent sessions do. The same is true of the mind and the soul. A single moment of courage is not enough. Courage becomes your nature only when chosen again and again. Consistency is the slow art of accumulation. Like drops of water carving stone, small actions shaped character. Ask yourself, what is one action I can repeat daily? Not for applause, but for strength. Perhaps it is a single-page read with focus, a walk in silence, a pause before speaking. Alone, these steps seem small. Together, they become the architecture of resilience. Marcus Aurelius did not become an emperor of wisdom by one act of brilliance, but by countless daily reflections, returning again and again to the same truths. Consistency is freedom disguised as repetition, and yet, small steps alone are not enough. The Stoics trained themselves with challenges greater than comfort, which leads us to the next practice: voluntary hardship. Practice 4. Voluntary hardship. Train before the battle. Most people avoid discomfort until it finds them, and then they collapse. The Stoics chose a different path. They practiced hardship before hardship arrived. Seneca once wrote in his letters to Lucilius, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" By practicing voluntary hardship, the Stoics trained two powers: resilience and gratitude. Resilience, because when the storm truly comes, it feels familiar, not foreign. Gratitude, because when you return to comfort, you no longer take it for granted. What could this look like today? Sleeping on the floor once a week, skipping a meal to remember hunger, walking instead of driving, turning off the phone for a day. These are not punishments, but rehearsals. They whisper to you, you can endure more than you think. Consistency grows stronger when tested in discomfort, for if you can hold to your principles in hunger and cold, you can hold them anywhere. And once you have trained in hardship, the next test is subtler but no less demanding. Mastering not your body, but your tongue. Practice 5. Control your tongue. Steadiness in speech. Words are like arrows. Once released, they cannot return. The Stoics knew that undisciplined speech is one of the greatest enemies of consistency. Anger shouts, vanity boasts, fear deceives. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in Meditations, "Let your speech be simple and honest." Simplicity is not weakness. It is strength restrained. Consider how many conflicts in your life were born not from action, but from careless words. To control the tongue is not to fall silent forever. It is to choose when to speak, and to speak only what serves truth and virtue. Epictetus advised his students, be mostly silent, or speak only what is necessary. This was not suppression, but purification. In practice, this might mean pausing before responding to insult, resisting the urge to gossip, or cutting away needless chatter. Each time you control your tongue, you strengthen consistency, for discipline in speech becomes discipline in thought. Ask yourself, if my words today were my legacy, would I be proud to leave them behind? And when the tongue is disciplined, the mind becomes clearer, which brings us to the next practice, the evening review, where the day is weighed and the soul made steady. Practice 6. Evening review. Close the day with reflection. The morning sets intention. The evening measures integrity. Seneca described this habit in his letters to Lucilius. When the light has been taken away and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I have done and said. Evening review is not self-condemnation. It is self-education. It is the quiet classroom where the soul becomes its own teacher. Ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well? Where did I fail? What can I improve tomorrow? This simple ritual trains consistency because it forces you to return each day, honestly, to the mirror of your actions. Imagine a sailor who never checks his course. He may sail for years, yet end up lost. The evening review is the navigator of your life. Do not be afraid of failure revealed here. Each mistake is a lantern lighting tomorrow's path. Consistency is strengthened not by perfection, but by correction. And when the day is closed with reflection, one final practice remains: to return, again and again, to the present moment, the ground of all discipline. Practice 7. Return to the present. Reset in every moment. You will stumble. You will forget. You will fail. Consistency is not perfection. It is persistence. Epictetus once reminded in his discourses, "If you fall, get up. If you fail, try again, for both ruin and salvation are in your own choosing." Many give up because they think one slip erases the journey. But the Stoics knew every moment is a doorway back to the path. To return to the present is to reset, to let go of the shame of yesterday and the fear of tomorrow. Consistency is not measured by how rarely you fail, but by how quickly you return. This practice can be as small as a single breath, a pause to remember, I am here. I begin again. Marcus Aurelius often wrote lines in his meditations not once, but dozens of times. Why? Because he kept forgetting, and he kept returning. That is consistency. Ask yourself, when I drift, do I punish myself or do I return? For the secret of discipline is not rigidity, but renewal. Each moment is a reset. Each breath is an invitation. And with this final practice, the circle of consistency is complete. From the first reflection of dawn, to the last whisper of night, to the quiet return in every passing moment. The quiet weight of consistency. Pause here. Let the rhythm of these 7 practices settle into your mind. Consistency is not loud. It does not shout. It whispers. It is the whisper that guides you in the morning when the day feels heavy. It is the whisper that steadies you in the afternoon when distraction pulls at every corner. It is the whisper that reviews your actions at night, not to condemn, but to teach. You may not notice it in one day or even one week, but like drops of water carving stone, its strength is revealed only in time. Ask yourself now, which of these practices calls to you the loudest? Which one feels like the missing piece of your life? Sit with that question. Carry it into tomorrow. Let it shape the rhythm of your days. The circle of consistency. Consistency is not built in a day. It is built in every day. From morning reflection to evening review. From voluntary hardship to steady speech. From small steps to present moment resets. These are not 7 tricks, but 7 pillars of a disciplined life. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself in Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The same is true of consistency. Do not argue about it. Do not romanticize it. Live it. And remember, you will fail. You will stumble, but each moment is a chance to return. This is not rigidity, but renewal. If this reflection has spoken to you, pass it on. Share it with someone who longs for steadiness in a restless world, for wisdom multiplies only when it is shared. And if you wish to continue this journey of the Stoic mind, subscribe and join us in the next reflection, where we will explore another timeless practice to strengthen your inner life. For consistency is not a destination, but a discipline lived day by day. Be well, be still, be free.